Hello everyone and welcome back to F1 2019, our career mode here at Haas F1 team. We're here at Bahrain for the second round of 21 rounds of the Formula 1 World Championship. So far we've already continued to go on to qualifying, or practice, and we've already got 813 points, resource points to go into our development after the race. I've already simulated the practice 2 and 3, so let's get on to our qualifying session.
Bahrain qualifying is nearly upon us and the drivers look as if they're all geared up to go. I expect we'll be getting underway very shortly. The competition is certainly heating up as we head into today's qualifying. Some impressive times showing up during the previous practice sessions. Anthony Davidson, do you think we can expect a similar level of skill to be showcased during today's qualifier?
Well, I certainly hope so. The competition here is extremely tight, and I think we might see some very close times today. Remember, practice isn't just about fastest lap times, though. It's about optimization, it's about ratifying your decisions. No one's going to be sweating small mistakes here and there, but in qualifying, that all changes. You need to nail that perfect lap or face the consequences, and believe me, that's a lot of pressure.
We've got a situation at the moment. Seems like something's off with the fuel injection system. We're looking into it, but we're going to be out of action for a few minutes.
Sweet, so we start qualifying with a 4-minute repair for our fuel system, so that's definitely going to bog us down for qualifying and have this run time. I believe it's 14 minutes, and it takes about 8 minutes to do 2 laps on the medium compound tire, which we normally start off with. So this is going to be close qualifying, so I start my banker lap with the medium compound tire. I try to do 2 laps, I believe, on this compound, but I eventually switch over to my soft compound after this, and I only get, I believe, 2 runs. So it really sucks. So I cross the line, go into P12, and this is where I go into my soft lap. I go into P10, which is really good. I'm in the top 10 for the beginning, but it's 1 minute 52 seconds to go, so the last group of people are already doing their last lap, and it just really sucks. So I come up here in the main straight. I'm losing time, so I'm trying to find as much time as I can. I brake way too early on that corner. I go way too wide, and this is where I make my most crucial mistake. I go in too deep, I hit too much curb, I accelerate on the curb, I brake, boom, I hit the barrier. So my qualifying time was ruined, and I had nothing else I can do other than try to continue on. So I had to try to bring it back to the pits without any more damage.
We have to replace that front wing.
And to retire from the session.
Than we'd like, but don't worry about it. Just means more fun for us tomorrow.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Vettel, Leclerc and Valtteri Bottas. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
So this isn't going really well. I'm 3 places down from my teammate Roman Grosjean. I'm starting 13th on the grid, so it's going to be a hard race. And then due to the qualifying, me and Roman are tied in our rivalry, so there's no advantage to us right now. So we get a couple of resource points from our qualifying session, but we only get 50, so it puts us at an overall total of 1,008. Our Haas F1 team reputation goes very low, and
expected a better session, but these things happen from time to time.
I just
Make up for it in the race.
The curtain rises once more then on the desert stage of Sakir as the players take their places for the opening act. Will they enthrall us like they did in 2014 with that titanic battle between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? Well, we'll find out shortly as we get underway here in Bahrain. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Bahrain has showed us many times in the past, though, Anthony Davidson, that a good strategy will only take you so far. Beyond that, you need good racecraft and you need good consistency.
And a little bit of luck too, I'd say. This is one of those circuits where the safety car always seems to come out just at the right time to condense the field together and mix up the cars on different strategies. It's hard on brakes, it's tough on fuel, and the main overtaking opportunity is down into turn 1, where it's easy to outbrake your opponent and potentially have a bit of argy-bargy as well.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, and Gasly, Weber, Butler, Grosjean, and Daniel Ricciardo, Perez, James, Kimi Raikkonen, and Albon, Norris, Sainz, Robert Kubica, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Kvyat, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So due to Alex Albon having I believe it was Albon having a grid penalty, I moved it up to the P12, which I have the inside line to the first corner, which is good for a dive bomb, but it's fairly dangerous because braking is very difficult on that corner and you have to leave a lot of space. So I try to mess with the strategy that we have going to see if I can get better time out of switching tires or coming in later than I would normally would or earlier, but just nothing is changing and it's simply not going to help. So onto the formation lap. We're right behind Sergio Perez and Devin Butler is right in front of me. I accidentally jumped the formation lap start. So I'm just trying to warm the tires as much as I can and just trying to just keep it up there.
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions looking good. The rest of the grid is forming up. Be patient and watch for the lights.
So I put in the clutch. 5 red lights, and away we go. So I did restart this lap a couple times, move on to the outside behind Sergio Perez. I cut off Kimi Raikkonen up into the first corner, but here's my first mistake. I take a bunch of curb. I'm surprised it took no wing damage. But I take a bunch of curb and I collide with Perez, but that's all I do. I do not get a warning, or I get totally renew the positions because I guess I was still on track. So I'm right behind Gasly. So I moved up a lot of places up into 7th, and I just keep on trying to push, and I'm just trying to gain places on Gasly, trying to get on his split because if I can overtake Gasly, I can overtake Weber, or Weber, whatever you like to call his name. But I try to set myself up for a dive into that corner, but I can't, so I just abandon it and just try to follow him. So on to lap 2. Gasly hasn't passed me, but Grosjean definitely has just gained a pace on me. He's on the soft tire, so he has a tire advantage. He's faster than I am, so he takes. I hit him, but he gets on my inside, and I try to brake later. We touch again. We're three abreast, but he overtakes me. I don't have the pace. He has more pace than I do, so I use DRS, try to get past him on that straightaway. I do run wide just to leave him some space, but I do eventually re-overtake him, and I just try to sit comfortably, trying to catch up to Lucas Weber. On lap 4, Grosjean tries to overtake me. He eventually does, which it was spliced out for some reason, but that happens, so I just try to keep up with Grosjean. I'm gaining time on Grosjean on the straights, only because I have DRS, but I just do not have the pace compared to him. It's really unfortunate, but I do not have any pace in this race. I'm trying my hard, but just everyone keeps getting me on the straights. I don't know if it's because we just don't have a good engine, but I think we just don't have that much of a good engine, unlike the other cars. So on lap 5, I'm trying to go. Perez is coming at me, so I just have to try to defend from him and just try to attack Grosjean. Grosjean just pulling away from me, and I cannot get in a split stream, but I am keeping Perez at bay. And then I do the exact same thing as I did at qualifying, and I take a bunch of curb on that turn, and I spin out, and eventually I get back on track, but I'm down to last place because of the mistake I had. I couldn't just rejoin the track. I just had to let all the other cars pass and cannot allow myself to get damaged. So I just, at this point, all I'm focusing on, and I don't really care about my fuel, I'm just trying to catch up to Kvyat and Russell and try to get up the standings. So here's the pit lane. A lot of people were pitting this lap, and that gave me an advantage because I can gain a couple positions, but of course these guys are going to be on faster tires, newer tires. So at this point, I just catch up to Russell, Verstappen, and Kvyat. So I just try to keep the pace up and just try to attack them. I don't know where I'm getting the pace out, but the slower cars, I'm a faster car, I'm the midfield, so I can easily get past these guys in a couple laps. I get DRS, I try to go in Kvyat's split stream. He does great defending, he wants to defend his inside line. He brakes earlier than I do, but I do get a good exit out of the turn, and now on to George Russell, which I evidently just try to. I get DRS because of Kvyat on that next straight, but I just try to keep up pace with George Russell. Onto the next corner, or the next couple of corners, I'm gaining time on George Russell. I believe this is where I overtake him. No, on the straightaway next, coming up to the corner where I did spin out. I do overtake him, George Russell, by doing a dive bomb. So at this point, I'm just being cautious with that corner because I definitely know it can screw me over in the end. So I move to the standings, eventually capture the Giovinazzi, and I believe 9th position is the last position I get. I believe it's 9th or 7th, but I overtake him, and it's totally easy. He doesn't fight back. He just does not have the pace compared to I do. So on to Lando Norris. I believe it's Sebastian Vettel and a Williams car. I totally forgot. Kubica. So I'm catching up to Norris. I get boxed in by Weber and Norris, but eventually overtake Norris to get 7th position. I'm checking because my pit stop is coming up on this lap, and I'm just checking to see like when I should pit, because I just don't have the pace. My tires are blistering. They're at 67%, almost 70%. My back tires are almost 80%. So I come in for my pit stop. I go in, so I just think everything's going to be fine. I'm looking at everything, and I feel like I'm just going to get out there. I'm going to have no problem. So I go in for my pit stop. I reach max revs. I'm ready to go. 3.17 seconds. I get held up by both Kvyat, or Alexander Albon. No, it's Kvyat and Russell both held me up in the pit lane, so that cost me about a half a second, which really bogged down my time. I believe second, almost 2.5 seconds. But Giovinazzi re-overtakes me. He's in 17th position, but I have the faster compounded tire, or I have the fresher hard tires, so I just have more pace that I can catch up on this next lap. I have DRS. I try to open his window. I do a switchback, and I brake later than he does. I go wider, leave him room, but I get a great exit leaving the hairpin, so I just use all my momentum just to get around the curbs. So I realized at this point when I was racing, I saw a yellow flag, and it was Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo was out of the race, so all it was in Devin Butler to finish this race, which could hinder their points in the Constructors' Championship, but that also gives me a free position. So, and it really helped out my race, even though I had a mistake. It was able to get finished.
Okay, clear.
So we're coming up to a good thing. I have split stream on Lando Norris, so I just try to use as much pace as I can, try to get other tires. People are exiting pit lane. It's 3 abreast into the hairpin. Crazy stuff. I go extremely wide. I lose my back end, but I've been able to regain it. I take a bunch of grass and then exit to the curb. But I do get DRS, and I do pull away from both Norris and Kubica. Alright, on lap 21, I was able to overtake Kimi Räikkönen and get up to 10th position, but he actually puts up a great fight in defending, braking later, and then accelerating more onto the braking zone. So he does really well, but I'm able to overtake him. On lap 23, it's 10th position. Carlos Sainz is ahead of us, but also Roman Grosjean is just trying. He has a bunch of pace in his car. He's already on the medium to compound tires, which I believe he's not going to pit for new ones. So this is his final set. And he has the pace, and I just don't. So after this, I kind of fill Sainz's tire, making him think that I'm going to go on the outside, or go on his inside line. So he tries to defend over there, but then I switch back onto the outside line. So Grosjean obviously has DRS, and he's catching up to me very fast. He has pace, so either I play the team game and decide to hold back and try to defend from Sainz, so Grosjean doesn't have to worry about him. But me and Grosjean just try to scrap it out to see who can get the higher position. But Grosjean gets a fantastic run on the front straightaway. I try to take a lot of curb. I'm surprised I didn't get any wing damage at that instant because I hit his back tire. But I take a lot of curb on just the first sector, trying to defend from Grosjean, but me and Grosjean are scrapping it out. So I do a tremendous dive to Grosjean's inside, and then after I dived, I realized Devin Butler's behind us, and Devin Butler can definitely outpace Grosjean, which can cost us points. So I'm thinking I screwed up. So on this next lap, I have a plan. I want to let Grosjean go by and run Devin Butler wide while he's trying to exit onto this corner. So I do exactly that. I kind of push Butler wide and allow Grosjean to overtake me just for this final couple of laps while I just hold off the people behind us. Devin Butler finally falls down the ladder, but Kimi Räikkönen is also right behind, so I kind of assist Grosjean so he doesn't have to worry as much by trying to hold the guys back. On lap 28, I just try to, after Kimi Räikkönen has a good kind of gap behind us, I do a dive on Grosjean. I have to go wide because he almost hit my entire side pod, but I do eventually get the overtake done. On lap 28, Grosjean is also right behind me. He's going to try to overtake me on this corner or on the straightaway. He eventually does. I tap his wheel, which I would say ruined our times, but I was able to overtake him by doing a dive bomb onto the last hairpin. So I just try to keep pushing and just try not to let him by. So on this final lap, I just try to keep him at bay while I try to do whatever I need to do and try to finish 9 and 10 and try to get at least some points to help us within the Constructors' Championship, which will be fairly difficult in the long run since we are so far down the line. We're in like the back of midfield. We're just trying to defend, all because of a mistake I had in the middle of on lap 5. All because of a mistake on lap 5 that I made cost us a bunch of points. I could have been up there maybe 7th or 6th position, scrapping for maybe a podium, but instead I'm scrapping just for points. So an unfortunate mistake that I made just totally cost us an entire race. It ruined my race trying to just, as you can see my fuel light's on, I'm just not caring. I'm just, as long as I get to the line in the points as well as Grosjean, I'm happy. So I come to this line, I kind of just don't put as much power. I want to have Grosjean kind of by my side, so I go to the outside. I kind of leave some room and just do my celebration and cross the line. P9, P10 for Haas.
Here's our winner, pulling their Ferrari into Parc Ferme. What a fantastic race it was. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. That lead at the top of the table has shrunk somewhat today. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid drive from him today, and one I'm sure the fans enjoyed.
It's time to see how things are.
Sorry about that, Crofty, but we do go P9, P10. I lose a position in the driver's standing, but on the constructor's standing, we go from 3rd to 6th, all because of the mistake I had with Red Bull. So we're 1 point from both 4th and 5th position on the Constructors' Championship, 57 to 58 on ours. So we really have to work next in China to make up the points, and I go back down to P6 in the Drivers' Championship, except for P5. So it's been a terrible race, and I hope we can make it up in China.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. There wasn't much between you and Lucas by the finish today.
I mean, he sets high standards, but we both have good cars. I mean, I think when it comes to raw horsepower, we really have all the horsepower there can be.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
I mean, he was close. He was way too close.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
I don't care to comment on that. Let's not talk about it.
Appreciate your time.
Alright, so after the race, our rivalry with Grosjean gets extremely close as we both get 3 rivalry points and we're both 9 and 9, so we're drawing our rivalry. It's really close compared to what it would be in F1 2018, where you would just be able to bully cars off the track and be able to get into high position. But we do get a lot of R&D points onto for the session. We don't get the qualify 6th or better, so we lose about 600 R&D points, which really is unfortunate. That we lose reputation with Haas and a couple other teams on the grid, but overall we have a couple messages from Carl, but we also have still don't our highest position has not improved. But let's go look at the R&D tree. So I want to put a chassis upgrade on there because we don't really have a good chassis around the track, and ignition system upgrade, that would be great for us. We need a raw power. Just to let you guys know, I changed this after everything for China. But I would thank you guys all for watching this Bahrain Grand Prix, a Grand Prix filled with mistakes from everyone on the field. But if you liked it, please like. If you didn't like it, please also like and subscribe. Share the video, and come back tomorrow to see another episode of F1 2019. See you guys later.